Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate you. This morning, our first speaker is the Prime Minister and the Minister for Finance, Economic Development, the Youth Economy, Minister for Justice and National Security. He has a few remarks, and I'd like us to observe a few housekeeping rules. 2 questions per reporter per round, and you are allowed 2 rounds. And also, let us also remember this is the Prime Minister, and let us address him with the utmost respect. Thank you.
Good morning. Morning, gentlemen. The press, I trust you had a very Emancipation Day. So I'm going to just read a short statement. In keeping with government's policy to improve the quality of life and social protection afforded to citizens, the government has commissioned the National Insurance Corporation to present proposals for the establishment of an unemployment insurance program. This program will allow persons who have become involuntarily unemployed to receive unemployment benefits. The government is committed to establishing an unemployment insurance program which will be implemented alongside an active labor market policy. The goal of the active labor market policy is intended to assist the unemployed in securing work placements, to encourage entrepreneurship and small business development, to provide basic work training for, in particularly disadvantaged groups, and to incentivize employers to provide staff training. I also want to update you that as at 1st July 2025, all NIC pensioners, including those who received an increase in the minimum pension last year, received a 3.9% increase in their pensions starting from July the 1st, 2025. And that increase is based on the average consumer price index. And that is in addition to the 4.3% increase they got the year before, based on the consumer price index. And government will continue to work with the NIC to ensure that all social protection benefits are adequate and sustainable. So we will be reviewing the benefits of the NIC to ensure that they are sustainable and they meet the desired purpose. Also, from the 1st of August, the VAT removal on 70 items commence. And again, I want to express my thanks and appreciation to the Chamber of Commerce for the cooperation in this venture. We've been having discussions with them for a long while, and effective, the 1st of August, we expect no VAT on 70 items, including goods that came from the exempt to the zero rated. There will be no VAT on them. So we also expect, as we have said to you on several occasions, there should be an immediate reduction in the price of these goods. Even though the cost goes up, these goods, the price should be reduced immediately, because the 12.5% that is paid by the consumer will no longer be paid. That is goods that become zero rated. As far as the exempt goods are concerned, as the minister has explained, and I've explained several times before, we expect a reduction in the price of the goods that were exempt that became zero. But those that have become zero, into zero, we expect an immediate reduction in the price of these goods. So we hope that the consumer will benefit. We hope that the Chamber will continue working with the Chamber of Commerce and so that we could get that relief. The consumers should get that relief from these goods. This is, in addition, the government will continue the zero rated for sanitary products. The zero rated will continue, and also for the selected list of bill of materials, that the zero rated will continue. In terms of import duty, as you know, we are members of the Common External Tariff, which is a CARICOM, which is a product of CARICOM, and there's different import duties for goods in the CARICOM region. So we've asked CARICOM for a derogation of the CET so that there can be no import duty on many of these goods. So we look for, as soon as that derogation is received, we should see a further reduction in the cost of living for the consumers of St. Lucia. I'm very pleased that the government can take that step, and we are hopeful that the consumer will benefit. I'm sure that we'll get a cooperation, as we've got, without shouting across the table, with the Chamber of Commerce as far as that result. Can I have any questions? And I also would like the press, I'd like the press also to inform the consumer about the movement into zero rated. It's a very significant move. It's very significant in that an automatic 12.5% reduction in the cost of these goods is a significant move. And I'd like the press to at least inform that the list of goods that will become zero rated can be made public. So that the public will know exactly what should happen. There should be no VAT, zero rated. It should not be VAT exempt. It be zero rated. Absolutely no VAT in them. Automatic reduction in price from goods that were standard to zero. Automatic reduction. Goods that were exempt, gradual reduction, but an automatic reduction from those that become zero rated.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Prime Minister.
Good morning.
First question from me. You spoke about something that's very interesting in terms of NIC and the unemployed citizens. But there's something that's sort of concerning in terms of the dwindling population and the effects that could have on NIC contributions. Has there been any discussions on that at a high level, and how do we expect to address that if that trend continues?
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how we intend to address it. Attending to address it is not in my it's not in my I've passed the stage where I intended when I can address it. But it's up to in a season that we live in, you can't even have a joke because some talk show hosts may be on my case if I make a joke with you. You understand? So I prefer not to see how it should be. But it's a fact. It's a fact. The population is dwindling, very dwindling. In fact, I had a discussion in the NIC only on Friday, and I was told that contributions to NIC are actually increasing in terms of more people have been employed. But I want now to say to the people who are currently contributing, particularly the young people, there are a number of young people who are in business. There are people who are doing manicures, pedicures in the beauty industry. A number of them are not registered. And again, that is the role of the press, to ask people to get registered to the NIC. You see, we have a belief that when you have short-term destruction, it automatically converts itself from short-term destruction to medium-term gains. It's not. Tony, this situation regarding the unemployment, the population, is a serious problem. In Barbados, it has reached a height that the Prime Minister, Mia Motley, every day she speaks about it. in Europe, in the US. So it's a problem in Japan. It's almost like a pandemic in Japan. So we now have to decide. The question is, our population is dwindling, but the people who are living now, they have to try to make their contribution for the NIC, particularly unemployed. And this is why the government will initiate an pension scheme for the fish farmers of this country, the fishermen, so that we have to see about the aged population. So the short answer to you is that we have to find ways and means of causing our population to stop dwindling. You understand? And I don't want to go into detail as to how we should do that. Because the environment we live in, we can't even have a joke. Yes. The next question.
Prime Minister.
Yes, good morning.
Last week, the police would have revealed at a press conference that evidence in the murder of Kimberly DeLeo and the unlawful killing of Shakadan Daniel are missing. As Minister for National Security, are you concerned about this at all?
Of course, I must be concerned. Everybody should, not only the Minister of National Security, everybody should be concerned about it. This is not a question that we should not be concerned of. I expect the police to leave no stone unturned to find what really went wrong. It's not the best news, but I expect the police, as I said, I expect the police to use all the investigative powers to see how these exhibits disappeared. I want to express again my condolences to the relatives of people who lost their lives. And that happened when I was not Minister of National Security. There was a Minister of National Security at the time. So it's very concerning, and I hope the police leave no stone unturned. It can't be a cold case. That can't be treated as a cold case. It must be. We must find ways and means. The police must use all the investigative powers at their disposal to see how they can get to the bottom of that situation. But very concerning to me, and should be concerning to the entire country. Should be. So we hope that we get some resolution.
Good morning, Mr. Prime Minister.
I see you have a new hairstyle.
In the spirit of emancipation.
Emancipation?
Last night, one of the United Workers' Party's endorsed candidates would have gone on this ideological rant and would have said that the St. Lucia Labour Party is a band of communists, Marxists, and socialists, and that your administration is trying to promote a sort of one-party state leadership of St. Lucia. As political leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party, how would you respond to this and general discussions about the evolution of St. Lucia's democracy?
You see, I want to be very kind to the gentleman who said so. Very, very, very kind to him, because he deserves kindness. The reason why he deserves kindness is that he's entered into an area that's a little beyond him. So now he has to give himself some level of relevance. I'm very, very sympathetic towards him, very sympathetic towards him, because I think he's realized that he's gone, his company and his company and his words, his words will live in politics. Your words in a company live to haunt you. So I just want to advise him that he ought to be a little more cautious in his pronouncements, because he has taken on the role of appearing to be a bad wolf. I want to advise him that he should be a little more cautious in the words that he says. When last did you hear the word communist?
I use communist, Mr. President.
Huh?
Is this in the party of
When last have you heard the word communist? You see, again, a lack of knowledge. Communism is no longer in the lexicon of political science any longer. All students of political science have studied have studied communism. And if you studied communism, you realize that the Social Labour Party is nothing near communist. The Social Labour Party believes in improving the life of the underprivileged. The Social Labour Party believes in education for all. That is why the Social Labour Party was the first party to get involved in universal primary school education, universal secondary education, and now we're going for universal early childhood education, and soon from now, universal tertiary education. That's what the Labour Party stands for. The Labour Party stands for improvement in wages. This is why we have a minimum wage. And I want to announce to you that in the next government, we are going to be more looking for a minimum wage per profession. That's what the Labour Party stands for. The Labour Party stands for social protection. This is why you're going to have an unemployment insurance. The Labour Party stands for equality in wages. That's why as far as 1998, under Kenny Anthony, we said the same wages for men, the same wages for women. That's what the Labour Party stands for. The Labour Party stands for union representation. Once 51% of the people are in the union, you must recognize the union. That's what it stands for. The Labour Party stands for land for the landless. This is why we've said that anybody who's been on crown lands, the government will give them a certain portion for their homes. What the Labour Party stands for? The Labour Party stands for sports for all. This is why the Labour Party built the National Stadium in Viewfort, the National Stadium, the Darren Sammy Stadium, and the Labour Party's now had a professional cricket league and a professional football league. That's what the Labour Party stands for. The Labour Party stands for youth empowerment. That's why we have the Youth Economy Agency, where thousands of young people are encouraged to go into their business. The Labour Party stands for the development of small and micro business. This is why we borrowed $10 million to set up small and micro business enterprises. That's what the Labour Party stands for. The Labour Party stands for empowerment of the underprivileged. So anybody, regardless of where you come from, regardless of where you were born, regardless of your beginnings, the Labour Party wants to use education to take you out of your beginnings, and hopefully that you don't forget where you came from. That's what we stand for. If you call that communism, yes.
Yes, Mr. Prime Minister. Going back to your insurance employment program. So, would the persons who are the people who would fall into that category? Would the NIC have to do a survey and an assessment of it?
If you look at it, we said involuntarily. Important word. Involuntarily. That means you get employed because of no cause of your own, involuntary. And what's very important, I want you to follow, is the active labor market policy, where we're going to try to reskill you, not the NIC, reskill you, retrain you, so you can get another job. We don't want you to be in perpetual unemployment state, right? We're not dealing with a state where you're just not working, like in ancient times, and government pays you, no. We're going to be involuntarily, you lost your job, so the government going to try, the NIC to retrain you so you can get alternative employment. So it's a stop-gap measure between losing your job and getting other meaningful employment.
Okay. So would it differentiate between the social, we have the social programs.
They work in tandem.
They work with the social programs.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Prime Minister, last week you would have heard of the ruling by the courts in terms of the burglary law being unconstitutional. That having been said, what steps is your government taking? Is it something that your government will reject or abide by that ruling and move forward with the Attorney General's office to strike this off our law books?
Well, the government will follow the dictates of the court. And if you realize that we've always said, and all that, when there was all that confusion about the RICO case, we always said, let's wait for the courts. That's always been our position. We mustn't forget our positions. During the RICO case, when anybody said, do this, I said, let's wait for the courts. And as far as that regard, the government will respect the rulings of the courts. And the Attorney General will take the steps that are necessary to ensure that the ruling of the courts takes place.
Mr. Prime Minister, at that same police press conference that I referenced in my first question, it would have also been stated that the 4 cases regarding the senior police officer who has the sexual allegations against him, the DPP has gone through 3, and 3 of them he has basically said that there is not enough evidence to go forward with. What is your reaction to that?
I can't react but when the DPP has ruled. The DPP has ruled. I have no other choice but to determine but to follow the rules of the DPP. You see, if we speak about separation of powers, we must respect the separation of powers. We speak about these things and we don't respect them. We've said that the powers are separated between the judiciary, the legislature, and the parliament. They're separated. So when one rules, you have to go through all the steps to ensure within the law that ruling is followed. If the DPP has ruled, I've never discussed these things with the DPP. I've never had these discussions at all. If he's ruled, I've no other but to follow his ruling.
Any more questions? One final question? That's it?
Okay. So, thank you very much, gentlemen and lady. I wish you a pleasant week, and I hope that you benefit, like the rest of the consumers, from the removal of VAT on 70 items. And when you see me next week, I hope you can tell me that your grocery bill has gone down by 12.5%. Thank you very much, and do have a good day.
As you know, the Prime Minister in his 2025-2026 budget address promised that a 10-year passport would be implemented. That promise is being kept, so I'm about to invite you to an official launch ceremony for the 10-year St. Lucian passport tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the Immigration Department, or what you know as the Passport Office. Okay? All members of the press are invited. Thank you.
You have a food?